Let's run the and good morning.
Yeah, there was what is it? Some flavor of autism and ADD mixed into that. It was a mess. Anyhow, good morning.
So, religion under attack again. Guys, don't get confused. There's no war on Christianity. That's just crazy far right-wing conspiracy nonsense. And the Biden administration is demanding that a Catholic hospital blow out its sacred flame. Demanding it so hard that they're threatening to remove the accreditation of the hospital for the use of Medicare and Medicaid services. Yeah. So they're not just attacking the hospital. Specifically, they're attacking old and poor people. The Biden administration is holding old, poor people hostage because they want this hospital to blow out their sacred flame. A sacred flame which is burned for, is it 60 years?
60 years.
60-year perpetual sacred flame. And here comes...
Well, only 15 if you want to count the remodel.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm making the point. Even if we give the least generous interpretation, this thing is...
And, because Joe Biden's a good Catholic.
Yeah, hey, look, can we roll back over to the article? I just want to chew into it a little bit.
Please do.
I'm just gonna read here. No, y'all. We're not kidding.
This comes from National Review.
Okay. The Department of Health and Human Services and its sub-agency, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, have decided to require St. Francis Health... I can't say it.
St. Francis Health
No, I
System.
can't say it, but St. Francis. St. Francis Health System in Oklahoma to either extinguish the sanctuary candle in its chapel or risk losing the ability to serve Medicare, Medicaid, or CHIP patients. And look, CHIP, that's kids, okay? They're threatening old, poor, and kids. In response to the threat, Beckett Law, a religious liberty organization, sent a pre-litigation letter to the federal government urging it to reverse course or risk a lawsuit on religious exercise grounds. Beckett senior counsel Lori Wyndham explained to National Review that both the hospital and Beckett were surprised to see HHS take a different interpretation of the fire safety standards and claim that the living flame, which is lit in accordance with the Catholic faith, was a problem. The Code of Canon Law requires that wherever the Blessed Sacrament is kept, a special lamp must shine continuously, read the letter. Referring to the chapel's offering of the Eucharist, Wyndham explained that the chapel and the worship offered there are incredibly important to St. Francis' identity and mission. Look, this is for real. This is a thing that is actually happening, okay? The federal government is about to pick a fight with a hospital, a Catholic hospital, over a literal holy sacrament, okay? And they're going to use poor people, old people, and children as leverage. And just as a quick aside, this right here, this is exactly why I oppose single payer. 1,000%.
Yep.
Because when the single payer says, I don't want to cover that anymore, it doesn't get covered anymore. If they control your health care, they have you by the balls.
And to be clear, I don't want to cover that anymore, as in this context, can be not, we've decided that there are medical concerns related to a specific type of treatment, and so we're requiring you to use a different type of treatment. No. This has nothing to do with a type of treatment, a development in science, an improvement in medical procedure. This has nothing to do with the government trying to force a hospital to comply with the findings of some new and improved research that says, oh, the way you were curing cancer before causes Parkinson's or something like that. It's not like the time the government sent me a letter that said, hey, we had to do a recall on your diabetes medication because it causes brain cancer, and so you need to take new diabetes medication. No. This is, we, the single payer, are deciding that we don't want you to treat these people in particular because of their religion. We've decided that we're going to select a group with an identity
and
we target them for extermination because we don't like their identity. And to be crystal clear on the crux of this issue, I want you to be there, to be no mistake that this has nothing at all to do with the facts of the sacred flame itself. That is an excuse being used to force unnecessary compliance and to allow the government, under this pretense, to actively and intentionally violate the First Amendment rights of that hospital, all of its patients, all of its employees, and the state in which it is founded. And to make that point crystal clear, I want you to see this. That is the sacred flame. And for just a little more context, that right there, see my mouse cursor in the corner, that is the sacred flame. We're talking about an enclosed miniature flame, not as big as this whiskey bottle, mounted to the wall and under constant supervision for safety purposes. If this thing has not been a problem in 60 years, the likelihood that that tiny, contained, and observed flame will ever cause a problem, that likelihood is astronomical.
Well, and let's be clear, they pass local fire inspections. The local fire marshal...
Every single year.
Yeah, every year. The fire marshal signs off on this. And, oh yeah, it's been there for decades and hasn't burned the hospital down. And we're talking about Oklahoma. Oklahoma is arguably literally the reddest state in the country. This hospital is one of the biggest hospitals by volume in the country, serves about 400,000 patients a year for everything from minor injuries to life-threatening conditions. Like it's number 12.
Except for abortions.
Funny you should mention that.
I wonder if that's got anything to do with, the problem. I'm the Biden administration. I'm sitting back and I'm thinking about this. The problem with Catholic hospitals is they don't have altars to Moloch. They just don't sacrifice enough children. They don't sacrifice enough babies on the altar.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny that you mentioned that because the abortion thing's going to come back around. Well, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I realized you were trying to segue, but I just want to...
That's fine. You've ruined it.
No, I haven't. It can hang. There's anticipation. Right, exactly.
Morning, Mom.
Good morning. And then Tweed 712, the Hail Satan, the Antichrist. Yes, I do think that there is a lot of what Alex Jones would refer to as, the Satan worship happening here. But I also think that they're being bullied. I think you can actually really simplify this if you want to. They're being bullied. Oh, those stupid Republican religious nuts that rely on this hospital. Well, let's give them a trolley problem and see what those stupid Republican religious zealots do with it.
That's right.
You can blow out your sacred flame, or you can lose the ability to be reimbursed for treating poor people. And this is a Catholic fucking hospital. It's not just medical doctrine that they help people. Right. It's religious doctrine that they help people. So you're allowed to have this side of your religion, you stupid Republican religious zealot, or you're allowed to have this side of your religion, you stupid Republican religious zealot. Now pick. But either way, you're still a stupid Republican religious zealot at the end of it. This is an exercise of authority. This is some unelected bureaucrat that got bullied by a Christian once, or sincerely believes that abortion should be the eighth sacrament, and so they're just gonna make the point because it's just a stupid little flame.
Tweed asks, do you believe in abortion? Yes, I believe it's a thing which occurs.
Yeah, it's like, do you believe in it? Yeah.
I absolutely believe, because I've seen the evidence with my own eyes, that there are, in fact, evil people in this world who murder children because it's convenient and politically useful.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I believe in abortion.
Racist evil people.
Yes.
In fact, that it's funny, you want to do something for the black population, open up another abortion clinic. Yeah. 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 And that's not me. That's Margaret Sanger. Like, I'm just quoting the bitch. Like, it's, yeah. Okay, see, I said the thing about being a bully.
Abortion.
See,
so,
look at that.
It just so happens that just recently, the Nebraska heartbeat bill died in the legislature. Pro-abortion protesters celebrate. Now, it was a heartbeat bill. Heartbeat bills are good-ish things, right? They're kind of like, in a way, they're kind of like a state declaring that it is a constitutional carry state. Well, no, you're not. Points for trying. Appreciate it. But a heartbeat bill still allows abortion up to 6 weeks. So make no mistake, when people celebrate the failure of a heartbeat bill, what they're celebrating is the continued forbearance and subsidization of the murder of children up to and including the moments after birth by the federal government. Well, it's supported semi-privately through the money laundering operations of Planned Parenthood.
Well, in Nebraska, abortion is legal to 20 weeks, and a heartbeat bill makes abortion legal up to about 6.
Right.
So abortion is currently legal, and abortion still would have been legal.
Still would have been legal. Let's take a moment to take a look at these girls. Anybody want to put a baby in one of these monsters? Yeah, you get it. You go, girl. You celebrate that lunchbox. Tons of fun. It's...
Man, we have the talk. Like, is it the 16th amendment, the 17th amendment, or the 19th amendment that just
ruined the world?
I mean,
not America.
The world. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because they're celebrating, God, and it's painful for me because what they're celebrating is Like, oh my God, abortion's just, it's going to be more restrictive. This is literally the Handmaid's Tale. Can you still have an abortion? Yes. Do you know how to not require an abortion in the first place? You have options.
Ooh.
And I promise you, I have 4 children. I understand exactly how that process works from the other side.
I also have 4 children. Betwixt us, we have 8. We are the goat with 1,000 young, right? We have done our duty to oppose the termination of American lives.
Yeah, exactly. And look, we've talked about this before, but I really want to reiterate this point. I think, first of all, go ahead and fuck right off with your, well, what about life of the mother and incest and rape? And according to Planned Parenthood's own inflated statistics, at most, that's 10% of abortions. So, fine. Whatever. Okay, those 10% of abortions are legal forever. Can we get rid of the other 90%? Oh, no, you don't want to play that game? Then do not talk to me about the exceptions, because the exceptions don't matter to you. So, that being said, I think the left is huge on abortion because it's one of the fundamental assaults on gender. And the left seems to be obsessed with assaulting gender, because if you could confuse somebody's gender identity, you could confuse them forever. But I think abortion is particularly pernicious because
talk about destroying a woman for the rest of her life.
I mean, that's what exactly. A woman is biologically and psychologically built for a certain stage of the development of the human race. If women didn't function as women function, the human race would literally die out in 1 generation. And so if you can convince a woman to have an abortion and or to encourage someone that she is very close to having an abortion, there's a good chance you've now got a lifelong, uncompromising, far left blue Democrat. And it's real simple. And
that's the point.
Yeah, that's the point. Because as soon as you have to consider, oh, well, those conservatives think low taxes are a good idea, but those conservatives are also pro-life. Well, if you have to consider the fact that the conservatives might be right on taxes, aha! Well, now you also have to consider that you were terribly wrong about the baby in question. And you might have made a horrible and horrifying mistake. So that's why it's so important to them. And the video that we watched that was just absolute cringe, there was no logic to it. There was no reasoned debate. It was pure emotion. I swear to God, you pull 3 women out of this random crowd, one of them is going to come back to you with some bullshit about The Handmaid's Tale. I would bet my paycheck that I get tomorrow.
I'd be amazed if that was if that's
not the minimum. And one of our well, one of the other brushfire minders here, Steve Rodemeyer, I'm just going to read these 2 comments back to back because they really make the point. Carlin nailed it, though.
That's you, Steve.
Most of the crowd wasn't women who have a lot of sex anyway. Yes. And
just to remind you.
Yeah, and population control, incentivize killing babies, promote lifestyles that cannot procreate. Yes.
And we mentioned this, I think we mentioned this yesterday in the context of propaganda and discussing what's happening in China. China for years had the one child policy going on, and part of the one child policy was a massive propaganda maneuver to feminize men and promote homosexuality, which has led to an imploding Chinese population where they're too far below replacement levels now, and there's a legitimate concern that if you don't have adequate replacement in procreation within a country, then your communist system that subsidizes old age and non-working conditions won't survive if the population doesn't continuously increase. And so there's a huge push in Chinese popular culture right now to maximize masculinity and to stigmatize the effeminized makeup wearing K-pop type cultural icons, because they're in trouble. And they're in trouble because they went down that rabbit hole of promoting non-productive promiscuity. A good kind of analytical reference for this is 1984, or not 1984, Brave New World. In Brave New World, they managed population control in a very, guys, if
Don't go down the rabbit
1984
hole.
is scary. Brave New World is more prescient.
Right.
Brave New World is all about no one has children, no one has natural birthed children. All humans are produced, with the exception of the savage reservations. All people are produced through a process of bosconification, where they literally clone people to be genetically and intellectually predisposed to the performance of specific jobs, so that all your airline mechanics are genetically identical multiple twins, right? And people generally are sterilized and encouraged to engage in maximum promiscuity. And it begins in early education, with preschool children being taught to play sex games in the nude in public parks, precisely because a huge part of establishing that dystopian, perfect, communistic type future with a totalitarian authority state is destroying the family unit and removing the rearing of children from the parents of those children.
Yeah, completely unmoors society. Everything about a tribe, everything even about a religion, tends to all function for one specific evolutionary trait, and that is so that we can have a foundation on which to clothe, house, and ultimately bring into adulthood our children. And in order to really wreck society, you have to divorce society from that idea. And somebody says, for me, the abortion issue is more of a symptom than the main problem. If young couples and young women could afford decent homes, healthcare, and education with their salaries, abortion rates will drop a lot in a very short time. I think that's a pretty naive way to look at it, because there are a lot of racial characteristics with abortion. For example, like, you go to New York and there are more black babies aborted than any other race. And there are more black babies aborted than there are born. Right? So it's not, if people just made more money, they'd have less abortions. It might be more accurate to say if people made more money, they would have less children. That does seem to be a thing that happens once you pass a certain point in wealth and education. You voluntarily have fewer babies. Don't know why.
Yeah, and you're addressing this comment from Aramis de Medianoche.
Yeah, there's a reason why I didn't try and pronounce that.
But, he says, for me, the abortion issue is more a symptom than the main problem. Young couples and young women can afford decent homes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just messing with you.
Okay. My dude, you're putting the horse inside the cart. Your understanding of economic need and the capacity of humans to adapt to responsibility is woefully insufficient. My father gave me a wonderful piece of advice. If you wait until you're ready to have children, you never will. And I only theoretically took that to heart because when we had our first kid, I'm gonna give you a little inside baseball here. I was doing a pretty particular job in the Army, and I was not likely to be around a lot. And then, and we had discussed it and decided to wait. And then I got a new assignment, and I was told that I would be riding a particular desk for the next 3 to 4 years, basically until my contract was over. And at that time, the wife and I had a discussion, and we decided, hey, that works. I'm going to be here until the contract ends. We're going to go ahead and do the start a family thing. And we got pregnant, and I got orders and deployed to Afghanistan. Just a few weeks after our first child was born, I left for a year. If you wait till you're ready, you won't be. You'll fuck it up. Life comes at you fast, and you've got to adapt to that and do it right. If you don't think you're making enough money to raise a child, go to work instead of the fucking club. You can't afford to fuck. If you don't think you can afford to raise children, sex is not a thing you have time for. Son, go the fuck to work. And then,
I'm sorry.
And then one last piece. Your girl comes in with the surprise. I'm pregnant. We weren't planning on it. We're not married. You know, that's okay. That's tough. That's scary. You know what 9 months is? 9 months is a long fucking time, son. 9 months is enough time to get a new job, right? 9 months is enough time to sort your shit out.
Get a second job.
9 months is enough time to finish basic combat training, and most, not all, you can't do what I did in 9 months, but most military occupational specialty training programs, you can go to basic, finish an MOSA school, and get to your first duty assignment, and put that wife, because yes, it's time to buy a ring, son. Put that wife in a house and have a job, a no shit job with a paycheck and benefits. 9 months is a lot of time to unfuck yourself.
Well, and the thing is, part of what's being under assault here is you talk about if you wait until you're ready, you'll never be ready. That is absolutely the truth. One of the things that makes you ready is doing it. We learn by doing, Lieutenant Savick. And that is, yes, I'm quoting Star Trek. Piss off. But we learn by doing, and you know, the days will be long, but the years will be short. And if you maintain a certain amount of discipline and focus, you know, and maybe you have to rent a small apartment at first. Maybe you have to work 2 jobs at first. You know, there's a lot to it. When you just say, oh my God, it's too hard, we could just go have an abortion, especially if you're willing to say, well, finances are a problem. We just can't afford this right now, so we're going to abort the baby. You're basically saying, okay, and I don't mean this flippantly, but I'm going to say it so. You're basically saying, oh, well, we can't afford it. So kill it. Now,
Yeah, that doesn't even
dare
work
you-
with fucking hamsters.
Yeah, I dare you to walk into an animal shelter and use that same line of logic. Hey, this place is really expensive. You know, about $48 worth of cyanide and a few gallons of water, and I could save us all a lot of money.
What are we, PETA?
I'm just making the point that
Oh, I was also making the point. PETA is, there is no other organization in the world that is responsible for more animal terminations than PETA.
yes. Well, I mean, those types of organizations are often hypocritical. But look, just to really hammer it home, to say that the problem is affordability. No, affordability is its own separate issue. To say that, look, Jen's in the chat again for the second time in a couple of months. Welcome back. But affordability, no. I had my first child under far less responsible circumstances. Okay. But there was never any question. It's like, oh, well, guess I'm gonna have a baby. Got about 8 months to get this, get something figured out. And you know, I actually managed to find a teeny tiny little house. I mean, it was teeny tiny. It was 5 rooms total. Okay. But I managed to find a teeny
It was
tiny.
over there near the high school, right?
Yes.
For the gas station?
Yeah, I'd say closer to the middle school, but yes.
Yeah. There is a school. There,
Yeah, near
you're right.
near where the Belladonna used to be.
I was just about to say, over next to the cow.
That's right.
I got it.
Yeah. And that house burned down. Anyhow, woo, a lot of inside baseball
Wait,
there.
the cow did?
The Belladonna house is no longer there. Hadn't been for like 10 years.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it's empty lot. But I was not...
Did you ever watch The Wife Swap? I'm sorry.
Brother, I was there when they filmed The Wife Swap. We'll have to talk about this off air.
Ooh! Ooh!
Nonetheless, I managed to find a...
Shit!
I managed to find a new job at a somewhat decent place to live. Because I was going to be a dad, and I had to figure it out, and I didn't make a lot of money, so I had to be more responsible with the money that I have, and to suggest that there will be fewer abortions when people make more money, I really think misses the point. This is a moral component. This is a matter of the spirit, of the heart, of faith, really. There's a reason why all these women are again, oh my God, it's the Handmaid's Tale. They're emotionally wrapped up into this. Until you're willing to say that this is a moral issue, that it's okay to say, I don't think abortion is right, that I think when you have an abortion, you kill a human being. And I think that because the thing is alive at the beginning, the thing is dead at the end, and it's 100% human DNA throughout the entire process. Unless you're allowed to have that conversation without you yourself being labeled the bigot, that's when we'll have fewer abortions. When ironically enough, Catholic institutions are not forced to blow out their sacred flames and are allowed to run basically pro-life versions of these same clinics, because they exist. There are Planned Parenthood style organizations that exist that encourage you to keep the child.
Yeah, you know what's important to remember about those? They're usually called like crisis pregnancy centers or something like that.
Right.
And under the current administration, you can just firebomb those. It's totally cool.
Yeah, and they don't.
As long as you're not praying quietly outside of an abortion clinic, you can just firebomb the crisis pregnancy centers. It's totally cool. No enforcement at all.
Well, and they don't get the same level of federal
illegal,
funding.
apparently.
They don't get the same level of federal funding, which they don't
You mean
need.
any?
Because, yeah. Yes, the same level. which they apparently don't need because you can sell aborted baby parts for medical testing. Like, no. So it is a moral issue. It is a matter of the heart. It is a thing that we need to confront as a society. If you want to say, hey, how we treat our prisoners is a direct reflection for the health of our society. You know what? I'm good with that. Let's go ahead and expand that category to the unborn.
And I want to add one more thing, and then I need to put a pin in it.
Yeah,
we got to go.
We got to go.
You mentioned the crisis pregnancy centers, and we cracked a little joke about federal funding and stuff. But I want to make this clear to you. You will often be told that the majority of Americans support abortion. The majority of America is pro-choice, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of that has to do with the way the question is asked. And the question that's asked in those surveys is never an honest question. It's never a question like, do you support abortion up to and including post-birth abortions? Because
on demand
and at federal expense, right? It's always some flowery version of, do you support protecting the lives of women? And then that gets reported as X number of people are in support of abortion. And somehow we're supposed to take that to mean that like 80% of Americans are totally cool with just chopping up babies after they come out. But let me give you a metric that speaks more to the truth of the matter than anything else that you can possibly get by misleading questions posed to the public. Crisis pregnancy centers are funded by private donation. Planned Parenthood has claimed repeatedly in court filings that it cannot exist and operate without federal subsidy.
Don't you just love your tax dollars being used for abortion?
People like things that are morally good. The government extorts you with force to fund things that are morally evil. That is microcosmically true to be extended analytically across the whole of extant government.
Kill it
Never,
right there.
Ever forget it.
Yeah, kill it where you can't.
Y'all be safe. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow for Firearms Friday and Edamas de Medianoche. I would love to see you come back, and we'll explore that conversation a little bit.
I sent you a picture. Can we end on the picture?
What was the picture? I pulled it up, didn't I?
I hope you did.
I did. Egot! Damn, son. These babies are speechless, too.
This was somebody responded to the Twitter thread with this picture, and I was just like, okay.
Y'all be safe, guys.